This is the true crime story of the vampire of Paris, a satanic, necrophile, cannibal killer. He started by eating strips of flesh from the morgue, and it escalated to murder. Come join me at the Murder She Shed, the place we honor the dead, right from actually outside my she shed today. And my name is Holly. There was hardly no wind, and that's rare for Oklahoma, so I decided, hey, I'm going to sit on the front porch of my she shed, and I'm going to do this video, because why not? I can just sit wherever, right? It is my channel. I make the rules, and my rule today is to sit on the front porch of my she shed, because it's so pretty. Nico Claux was born in Cameroon, Africa on March 22nd, 1972. To parents that didn't even pay much attention to him, even though he was an only child. You'd think they would have given him some attention. Michael was a computer technician and was studying networks around the world for a banking company. And his mother, Claudine, who was a secretary, actually inherited a lot of money. So she had money. She didn't even need to work, but I guess she was a secretary anyway. Maybe she got bored at home. I don't know. His father traveled a lot and took photos which he would show Nico. They usually consisted of really morbid things. Scarification, voodoo rites, witch markets, and just weird things he's seen from around the world. At the age of 10, he was visiting his grandfather for the summer. One day, while at his grandfather's home, he woke his grandfather up. He was taking a nap, and he begged him to play badminton. Although his grandfather did not feel good, he finally gave in and started playing with Nico. After a few rounds, his grandfather collapsed and died of a heart attack right in front of Nico. While his grandmother was on the phone later with his mother, he heard her say he killed him and knew she believed he had killed his grandfather by insisting he play badminton. When Nico attended the funeral and stared at his grandfather, he realized at that moment that he had power over life and death, because at 10 he assumed he had killed his grandfather. Instead of feeling sad, it gave him a positive energy. At 12, his family ended up moving to Portugal. He felt like he never fit in with other children and became a loner. It was during his first years in French high school that he began to develop fantasies of murders towards his classmates. He imagined hiding a long knife in his satchel, then following the few kids he hated the most to the toilet to bleed them out over the toilet. He loved to watch horror movies and read satanic books. One day, after watching a movie about someone unaliving himself, he cut his forearm and had the urge to suck his own blood. One day, he indulged in this blood-sucking ritual during a history class, and as usual, paid no attention to the students around him. It wasn't until the bell rang that, looking up, he saw the horrified faces of a bunch of girls sitting at the other end of the classroom staring at him. So he gave them a red tooth smile. What else should a guy do at that point? Really? What else can you do if you've been caught red-handed? Red-handed? That's a pun, sorry.
Got him red-handed!
He began skipping school and visiting cemeteries, where he felt an energy he was unable to explain to anyone. He began peeking through small windows on mausoleums and learned how to lock pick so he could start breaking into the mausoleums. He began to take Polaroid pictures of the dead and bring bones and ashes home to store under his bed or in his closet. He occasionally would stab the corpse with a screwdriver. When he attended another funeral of another grandfather who had died, he decided he wanted to be a morgue attendant because of the thrill it gave him when he seen the dead. He was able to get a job working in a hospital morgue after graduating from high school. Nico was finally able to get his own apartment and made an altar and placed some of his stolen bones on it. He would often steal bags of donated blood at the hospital and bring them home to drink. He believed that he gained the vital energy of the people he fed upon. When he was assigned to stitch up the wounds that the coroner had inflicted on the dead, he would grab a sharp scalpel and cut thin and long slices from the dead. He would then bite into them without bothering to cook them beforehand. This would really excite him. He said, sometimes I brought select meats home with me to be cooked, but my preference was to eat them raw. It tasted like tartar steak. The big muscles of the thighs and back were good, but there was no good meat in the only fats. People often ask me what went through my mind the first time I indulged my cannibalistic fantasies. Well, to be honest, I said to myself, wow, now I'm a cannibal. Cool. He began sucking women's blood and having relations with them in the morgue. He had serial tattooed to one bicep and killer inked to the other, and inked predator on his stomach. The hospital chaplain once took him aside and said to him, I saw the devil where you were standing right now, young man.
Devil. You are the devil.
On the morning of October 4th, 1994, he woke up knowing this would be the day he killed his first victim. So he went to the library and met a man online. They started talking about S&M and bondage and those type things. And he asked if he could have his phone number so he could call him and they could make a date. So he went to a local phone booth and he called the man and they made a date for that evening. That evening, he showed up at 35-year-old Thierry Bissonnier's home. And as soon as he entered the door, shot him with the .22 in the head. Thierry started crawling away from him, so he then shot him in the neck and back. He then went into the kitchen, made himself a sandwich, sat beside Thierry, and ate his sandwich while watching him die. Nico wondered if the bread would taste better if he soaked it in Thierry's blood. Wow. Sick son of a gun, isn't he?
That sick son of a bitch.
Nico decided death wasn't coming fast enough for him, so he lifted a large plant pot he found in the hallway and threw it down with all his strength on Thierry's head. Thierry passed away, and he wanted to cut strips of flesh to cook when he got home, but feared he would be caught if he stayed any longer. So he just stole Thierry's wallet and just left. After Nico made it home, he noticed there was a blank check inside Thierry's wallet and suddenly decided that he would like to buy a video camera with it so he can make snuff films in the future when he killed somebody. Attempting to buy the video camera would be his downfall. Thierry's body remained on the floor of his apartment for 3 days until his parents, distraught and not being able to get in touch with him, went to his apartment and discovered the grisly scene. On November 15, 1994, Nico was arrested. After the police entered Nico's apartment, it would shock them. Bone fragments and human teeth were scattered around. Vertebrae and leg bones have been tied together, hanging like morbid mobiles. Hundreds of videotapes, mostly slashers and hardcore S&M, filled the shelves. A bullet-riddled target was hanging on the wall. Funeral jars filled with human ashes were resting on the TV set. Bondage magazines were piled in a corner. Surgical instruments, handcuffs, and duct tape were stuffed in a backpack. The whole place reeked of death. After serving 7 years and 4 months of a 12-year sentence, Nico Claux was released from prison on March 22, 2002, because psychologists said he wasn't able to fully understand the full measure of what he was doing. Psychologists diagnosed him with necrophilia and sexual sadism, and also a borderline psychotic personality. Since his release, he divides his time between painting, tattoo work, the internet. He displays his art on his website, and graveyards. He also has a YouTube channel and has wrote books, including a cookbook called the Cannibal Cookbook. He says human meat tastes like horse meat. It's sweet. It has a metallic taste to it. I'm just going to have to take his word for it on that, most definitely.
Come on, you heard the nice cannibal.
For a period of time, Nico lived in Sweden and England, but he returned to Paris in September 2004 and lives with his girlfriend in an apartment there. He does say he has tried necrophilia in one of his interviews, but mostly he only enjoys drinking blood and eating flesh of the dead.
I guess that makes me a cannibal.
Here's my little Shimo. He's here to tell y'all bye and that he loves y'all and hopes y'all have a blessed week and a wonderful, wonderful day. Huh, boo boo. He's a good boy sometimes. Just sometimes, aren't you? Just sometimes. Sometimes you're good for nothing. And here comes Max now. Anyway, I love you guys. I will let y'all go. Simon, you cannot see him, but he's actually, well, he's going to come now that I said that. He's right here sitting beside me. Right now, he's being a good boy. We'll see how long that will last. Lay back down. Go lay back down. Bye-bye. Okay, or not. Or just stand here while we film. Whatever. I made this chair out of driftwood. This is my driftwood chair. I got some driftwood at the lake and I built a chair. You know me. I'm building stuff all the time. I made it a while back. I think I made it a couple of years ago. But it's still lasting. It's still a good chair. The parents, they didn't pay much attention. Sounds like I hear my dogs walking in the background. You guys go lay down, please. Please, ask you nicely here. You hear the airplane too? Me too. It's loud, isn't it? Big ears. You gonna lay down too? Cameroon, Africa on March. Lay down, Max. So he gave them a red tooth smile. What else should a guy do at that point? Really? What else can you do if you've been caught red-handed? That's a pun. Sorry. A pun I didn't even mean to make, but I did. I repeat it for 1 billion times. That's weird. Check. It's sweet. It has a metallic taste to it. Just going to take his word on that. Filler, I'm just going to take your word. He also has a YouTube channel where he talks very openly and candidly about his murder, about his feelings towards eating people, and other things. Take a hard pass on that. That's one meat I don't want to eat. Anyway, love y'all. Bye. Oh, God, he's knocking everything down. Okay. Anyway, love y'all. Bye. Have a blessed week. Bye.